So I have started off with putting these ZBT groups into four. So I've split them into extending, proficient, developing, and what was the other one? Recognizing. So for the first one in the top right corner here, I have put Bridger, Carly, Mario, and Aubrey in the same group. And this group is near mastery for all rubric items. So they can do everything to do with place value for grade twos. So what they can do is they can regroup accurately, they can confidently apply place value to 1,000, and they can explain thinking clearly. For the ZPD focus, we just want, well, I wanted to consistently keep them doing regrouping and make sure that they have a mathematical understanding for through justification when they're explaining their work. So that is in the top right corner. The group two that I've got Kayla, Kyle, Mercedes, Liana, and Reese. And this is like the proficient group. So the purple group just down the bottom here, just below the black group. So they are strong mastery through the middle. Some inconsistencies I found, they have petitioning, and they can't petition to from 1,100, 1,000, 100 to 10 and 1, and they need consistent regrouping to make sure they can get these skills done. And what they can do is they can understand place value structure. They can regroup with support of either as LSO or the teacher. And the ZBD focus is we just want them consistently regrouping in strategies and be able to clearly verbalize and write explanations when they are done. For group three, so this dark blue group down here, we've got Obed, Lena, Sydney, Samson, and Georgia. And this is the developing group. They have access to early skills and can break apart numbers using place value units, such as like your tens, your ones, and your hundreds. And they can partition with scaffolds. So those are the things they can do. For the ZBD focus, we wanted them to understand how regrouping works and how they can do it. Then we wanted them to move numbers in the ones to the hundreds and the tens. So we wanted to go from the ones, obviously through, and then working through to tens and hundreds. So group four is the emerging group, and this is the lowest group down here, the light blue group. We've got Micah, Anya, Blair, Avery, and Patricia. And these guys are the lowest. They only get a few things. And what they can do is they can recognize numerals, and they can combine small numbers together. And so what the focus is for these guys is that we want them to understand the digital position of building numbers from 1 to 10, as they can't really do any of the other place value parts. So that was all I had for that. Did you guys have any feedback or that you wouldn't give me for my chart? I might start with you, Connor.
Yeah.
Or Sally, you can
I
start
don't
later on.
mind.
Yeah, I had for that top student, um, because they've actually successfully met all the requirements, the criterion for this task. Maybe they don't need to be placed in a
Yeah.
CPD group for this topic, just because they've met all of them there. And I think there was
Yeah.
one 18, and the students who scored 18 and 16 could possibly be moved up a group. That one, the first one I see
Yeah.
is Obed and Lena. I believe they could
Yeah.
possibly be moved up a group
Yeah.
there, but
Okay.
that's the only comments I have on that.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah, well, I my positive feedback would just be that like your actual Gutman chart is like really like you can clearly tell like there's a strong staircase way, so it's like the data's all good. And
Yep.
then sorry, just looking at my notes. Yeah, one thing that I just noticed was that there might be like a little bit of noise in some of the responses, like in the assessment,
Yeah.
like where the students got a harder item correct.
Yeah.
like after and I mean before an easier one.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, that was my only thing. So that was just a bit of data feedback, I suppose.
Awesome.
But other than that, good job.
Thank you. I'll come back. There you go.
I'll do mine.
Yep.
Sweet.
Brilliant. Hopefully that's working. Cool. Before I get into the CPD groups, my data seems to be very noisy. There's lots of inconsistencies with this one, which made it quite difficult to
Sorry, my dog is just gone.
that's okay, to actually group the students. Um, First one I noticed was 5.2, um, pretty inconsistent with some of these higher students getting these wrong there. So obviously the data is not necessarily reliable, and maybe the task wasn't appropriate for assessing this different criteria here. Um, First group I had was the proficient group up in the top right. Um, their big idea was one was about persuasive text. Persuasive texts are further supported through advanced persuasive techniques. The next group, the orange group, was about using supporting information to support their stance. And the yellow group, the lower one, was using the correct persuasive structure. Learning goal for the proficient group was students will learn to apply advanced persuasive techniques and features to improve their overall persuasive writing pieces. Students will utilize rhetorical questions and persuasive words that are supported by rich research. So for those first four students, developing students will include correct persuasive structure in their pieces. They'll be able to write a persuasive piece that includes an introduction, conclusion, which are supported by body paragraphs, and the understanding group, that bottom group. In their persuasive pieces, students will determine their own stance on a topic and provide reason based on their own knowledge. They will also attempt to include an introduction and body paragraphs. Some specific student parent feedback I had was the first group for Mackinac proved that she's proficient in completing persuasive text pieces and she follows the correct structure. To extend her learning, she can use more rhetorical questions, which has been worked on, and it will further support her persuasive writing. Jenny from the second group has shown she's able to produce a persuasive writing piece with a clear stance. For her to support her opinion, she can use more research to support her information in the text. And for Stephanie in the last group, it was to continue build on her structure of her writing, although she has proven that she can attempt to use things like rhetorical questions. So she understands some of the techniques, but it's mainly focusing on the structure there. But yeah, it was quite challenging to actually put students in groups because the data isn't very consistent and it doesn't sort of have that gradual ladder sort of approach. So maybe the task needs to change, probably go back and reshape this assessment to get some better results. That's what I have for that.
Good job.
Any suggestions?
Um, yeah, well, I really like how you've grouped, like how clear the groupings are, like the three levels, like I think you said proficient, developing, and understanding. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, like that is easy to follow. And yeah, like your big ideas of like the persuasive writing skills. Um, like I like that yeah, like they were just really strong, I guess. Um, yeah, and just how like each group just builds in complexity. So I liked
yeah.
that.
Thank you.
And then for just some constructive, yeah, I guess you kind of already pointed it out when you explained it anyway, but just yeah, like because your data is obviously very scattered, so there's a fair bit of noise, but um, yeah, I guess just like I guess the reliability of the groupings and stuff with all the scatteredness, I guess just yeah, like considering just how confident you are in like the with the groupings and stuff, like how you feel about them.
Yeah, makes it difficult.
Yeah, it does. It would make it difficult. So
Yeah,
yeah, that would be like the only
Yeah.
thing I'd think about, really.
perfect.
Yeah, look, I'm very much similar to what Zali said. I think what the constructive thing that you could work on was obviously the noise, but that's hard to gather with the data that you've been given. So I think, yeah, if you've done the grouping well, and it looks good. So yeah, mine is very similar to Zali. So
Perfect.
Good,
Thank you. I'll stop that one there.
good job, and I'll share mine. Let's go down to my chart. All right. So I'm just going on notes. So yeah, just well, I guess like an overview. So most of my like students achieved like all the earlier skills first and then moving into like the more complex ones that kind of made it easier. And I basically just yeah, I sectioned my because my Gutman chart was quite clean, I suppose. I kind of just grouped mine a slightly different way that you guys have. So I guess it's a bit of a comparison. But yeah, so I've kind of got my more developing groups. Oh, well, mine the names of my groups. I've done like for group A, which is like high. Yeah, so it's like consistent across all the levels. So most of them got, well, all of them got ones for everything. And then B is a yellow and they're developing, so mostly correct, but then there's some gaps more towards the end. And then the last group, group C, which is emerging, like yeah, so they've got like some difficulty with just the more complex tasks, but still pretty good. So yeah, I think it just clearly shows their learning progression. And then I suppose I can go down here. And then yeah, so with my group A, like the high students, so yeah, they scored more or all five, so that they mastered across all indicators. So and they're probably ready for some like extension because they cleared them all. So yeah, they probably I guess they can well, I probably don't have necessarily have to have them as a group, but because they all mastered everything, I'd probably be looking then for an extension task or something further for them for next time. And sorry, my screen's not moving. And then yeah, so for group A, the big idea would just be comparing and reasoning with quantities. And then group B, the big idea was accurate counting one-to-one correspondence. And then group C was foundational counting skills. And then just linking that to the learning goals and everything. So group A is like would be extending and reasoning mathematical language. And then oh, and by the way, my year level was prep, so very simple. That's um for this task. And then group B would be to improve accuracy and consistency. And then group C would just be to build on like their core counting skills. Um, and then yeah, that's pretty much it, really.
I'll go first. I like the positive that I've got for you is I like how you've got the groups color coded. Um, it's clear that like you know who's in which group. And I think that's good. So that's the positive I'll give you. Some constructive feedback would be potentially down the bottom where that white line is. You could have your totals of like your matching numerals, like how many like kids got it correct. So you'd obviously have for the match numerals, you'd have everyone got it correct. So whatever students you have 20 for example. You put
Yeah,
20 down the bottom, and then you can see which groups and which activities you could maybe further improve, I
yeah,
guess.
good point.
But otherwise, I think, yeah, you've done a very good job. So well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, one thing I liked was the progression of the learning goals. I think they seemed completely suitable for this topic there. And you also, like, the only constructive thing I had was you already touched on it, was that a lot of these students might actually not need to be placed in a group because they were able to achieve each indicator there. otherwise, that's all I had for that, really. Yes, I liked the learning goal progression, and yeah, you already spoke about the grouping there.
Perfect.
That's all I had. Yeah.
Thank you.